about school lunches at different North Shore middle schools and New Trier High School. Tune in right now to hear interviews from students and school faculty where they break the ice and give us the inside scoop about what our surrounding school's food is like. This is Alyson Weber, your host for today's exclusive report on American Studies News. New Trier High School. A great school, right? Of course, its academics are unbelievable, but the majority of the students don't seem too happy about Aramark, our food provider. Although some students show indifference to the quality of the food, some students seem to have great ideas about ways to improve the food served at New Trier.
Sandwiches are okay, but I like hot lunch. But the only hot lunch that it seems like we have is like pizza and like burritos, which are not really healthy options. So maybe healthier versions of hot lunch would be nice. And as for the drinks, I really only see kids drinking soda. I mean, I know that they have milk, but maybe making it a more prominent option, like having less soda than milk.
Next year I hope to see more healthier options, like maybe more salad bars and better quality food. I like that they have a few options, and I don't like that there are a lot of fried foods and how some people only get chips for lunch.
I think their food is pretty well set as it is, but I feel like they can have an ID on their phone, so like an app. What do you want instead of carrying around your device all the time? Your ID. You usually don't have it on you, and so you have to say it out loud. Your ID maybe other people. So maybe have like a pop online that you can show them.
We had the opportunity to talk with Andrew Scarefile, New Trier High School's Student Alliance president for next year. He revealed some very interesting information about some ideas that he has for the food that's provided next year. Let's see what he says.
Well, next year we are up, Aramark's contract is up for renewal, so we're seeing potentially to get either a new contractor or get significant changes with the current provider. There's 4 contenders, and there's a committee that visited all the schools that each one services, and we tried the food to see which one to select.
What sorts of foods do you hope to include next year in the cafeteria?
Definitely a wider variety of options of both higher health quality as well as more variety as well. There were one school we went to they had a fruit bar and they had a barista and they had an ice cream bar, and we're looking at these things and we're like, why don't we have them? And when looking at the options that other providers are offering other schools versus what is being offered to Aramark, we're realizing that there's a serious lack in options, maybe because of spatial issues with the current existing cafeteria, but that's definitely something we're looking to rectify next year.
Mm-hmm. And how hard is it to compromise with Aramark in previous years that we've worked with them to change and add on new things such as iced coffee?
Well, it's easy to get them to agree to certain menu changes, but it's harder to get them to agree to contractual things. There was a non-compete clause which said that clubs couldn't fundraise by selling, let's say, Panda Express or different foods that were seen as in competition with the current food service provider. That was a few years of a struggle to get that amended. But with food options itself, it's more of a question of whether or not Aramark creates those foods, or even if there's space, because there were a lot of things they wanted to put in the small caf downstairs and they weren't able to because there's just not the space with the existing facilities being.
Middle schoolers from Central School, a middle school in Glencoe, Illinois. They were able to give us some information about their lunches that are provided there and whether the students like to bring their lunch or they like to have the lunch that's provided to them. Let's see what they say.
Well, some of the food, it's not too good, but a lot of it I like.
A lot of it, it's mostly warm and it's pretty good, and I like a lot of the places where it comes from.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the lunches should be healthier?
Some of them, yeah, I could say that they should be healthier, but most of them come with either veggies or something else.
And do you usually eat the veggies or do you usually throw them away?
I eat most of the vegetables.
I normally eat them.
Sometimes my mom drops it off, and sometimes the school drops it off, or I'll get it from Marla's.
Mm-hmm. And what does Marla's provide usually?
They provide chicken tenders, from a variety of places. Sometimes you'll have Italian, sometimes you'll have Once Upon a Bagel, and sometimes you'll just have variety. On Fridays you'll get Chinese or Potbellies.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that the food's really good that they provide?
It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Would you say that it's healthy?
No.
And would you want the school lunch to be healthier?
Probably.
You?
Yes, it's pretty good, but sometimes it's just not like up to quality because sometimes they have like the cheese and it's like the crappy kind of cheese, and many times the bread is dry.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the food that they serve is really greasy, especially the pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And they like give us the vegetables on the side, like try and make it better, but most of the time, like the kids, they just like leave it there and like, throw it out. And so I think that like maybe if they could, I don't know, like start having more options for the vegetables, because when you sign up for it, like they have they just like, oh, it's a box of carrots, like why not have like a variety of it, so like so kids don't always have to have carrots or something that they don't like.
Marla's Brown Bag Lunch has been the main food provider at Central School and has just become popular this year. Marla's Brown Bag Lunch was started by Marla Stone, a mother from Glencoe. She started just making her kids lunch every day and decided to help out parents who want their children to have a healthy lunch but don't have the time in the morning to make it for them. She said to Nutri News, and I quote, "My ideal customer is a person who wants to eat healthy and know they are getting a quality lunch. They are super convenient and no one has to think because lunches are ordered in advance." End quote. These lunches offer up a wide variety of different and fresh foods ranging from sandwiches to pasta from different local vendors. The assistant principal of Central School was able to sit down with me and answer a few of my questions. He said that even though the lunches aren't all healthy, they do their best at serving food that balances between nutritious and something that the students would enjoy eating. So far, there have been no complaints from parents or students directed at him. The response to Marla's lunch was much better than before when students weren't enjoying what they ate and the waste from the lunches was much higher. Mr. Kim informed me that most of the students seem to bring lunch from home, but said that the rates of students who eat Marla's is increasingly getting much higher, and that he's very pleased with the results. Even though some students who I talked with in the interviews didn't seem too satisfied with the food, I'm convinced that Marla's Brown Bag Lunch has great potential to improve and expand. I decided to talk to another student from Sunset Ridge, a middle school in Northfield, to learn more information about the food that is provided and how it's different to the food at Central School. I decided to talk with Janine Pono, one of my good friend's sisters, who goes to Sunset Ridge Middle School. She told me that the lunches were not good and that she decided to bring lunch from home this year because the food was so bad last year. Last year, one of her friends found a hair in her salad, and another found a button in her macaroni and cheese. The school attempts to promote healthy eating and has a salad bar option this year, but she says that many of the students don't even finish their lunches. From time to time, they just throw out the entire thing. Janine said that her school has tried this year to change the menu items to healthier options, such as wraps and salads, but she told me that the majority of the students do buy lunch from the school, as opposed to Central School, where most students bring lunch from home. It's interesting that schools that seem fairly similar to each other have extremely different lunch programs. Then as you transition to Nutri High School, it's even more different in a way that it's run as well. Although these schools aren't given assistance by the National School Lunch Program, the decisions that the school makes about the food says a great deal about the school and its motives to cultivate a healthy atmosphere among its students. Although it's a common theme among all the schools that improvements are well underway and that nutrition, the quality of the food, and satisfaction from the students is very important to the schools. Thanks for tuning into this episode on American Studies News on our special for the school lunch programs around the North Shore area. See you next time!